The architecture's really cool. But God, I just hate the Czechs, you know? They're just so ugly in soul and spirit. Oh shit, we're live. I love the Czechs, bro.
All right, how do you feel about the checks?
It's not my favorite type of cereal. I think I like Wheaties better.
Checks?
There's a Czech cereal?
Yeah, isn't Chex Mix like a cereal?
Uh,
Maybe?
you
Yeah,
could be onto
perhaps.
something there. I don't know.
Perhaps. All right,
Okay.
welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode number 328 of the Iron Coop Fights movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, and hosted by SoundCloud. I'm Kier, your host. With me on the show today are my co hosts, Emerson
Hey, what's going on?
and Everett.
Hey, what's up?
This week, the team reviews Black Hawk Down. All right, I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love but recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. Who would like to go first?
I will.
Interesting, interesting.
So I've seen this movie a lot. I give it a win. I like the film. I think that it's well shot, good sets. I think it's interesting. I know, Kia, that you told me that it's based off a book, which I didn't know, and that there's a documentary. I haven't read the book, haven't seen the documentary, but I definitely want to check out those things as well. I like the vibe of this movie. There's been some controversy in the past if it's anti or pro-war, which I think is interesting. There's also some controversy around the movie that it kind of justifies Iraq, even though it's, in Somalia. But that aside, I like the vibe of this movie. I like the way things pan out. Um, I like the broader message. I think that from my understanding of the Battle of Mogadishu, it pretty strongly represents what actually happened. And I think it has a good sense of like letting you know what happened. The background behind this movie is kind of crazy, like the things that happened after this movie ends. So maybe we'll talk about that later. But it's a win for me. I've always thought this was a good movie, and my opinion didn't really change watching it this time. It's a little dated, but not as dated as you'd think, because I think this came
Dated
out
in
in
what way? Because it's a period
um
film.
well, when I say dated, I mean like it looks a little dated, not in terms like there's not
Like
any
some of the CGI looks dated.
I actually think the CGI looks pretty good. I just mean like it's a little grainy, like and like it's an older movie. It's very clearly
I
on
think that's
film.
a choice, though.
I know, I agree, but I'm just saying like it looks like an older movie. I still think I didn't actually notice any CGI in it, to be honest.
I think I only
And
spotted one scene that sort
some
of
of
took me out of
the
the
some
movie.
of the explosion like jump slow-mos are a little dated, I think, in terms of filmmaking, but I think it holds up excellently. Um, and it feels also very timeless other than those few things. So it's a win for me.
Everett?
I'm gonna give this one a draw, and here's why. So this is one of those movies that
You
I've been holding off.
anti-American
This
piece
is
of
one.
shit.
Shut up. This is one of those movies I've been holding off on watching because I had never seen it before. But
Oh, what the fuck?
I know. But that's the thing is, we've talked about this movie a lot, like over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
We used to play
You said it
games
was your
based.
favorite film.
No, I've never seen this movie. Like
Don't
I
you have
said,
a
this one.
Black Hawk Down tattoo?
Shut your mouth. No, I don't.
Yeah. It says black cock down. It has an arrow
Remember
pointing at your
October
ass.
3rd on your lower back?
Yeah.
Uh, that was wash off. Okay, so again, this is one of those movies that I was saving to watch for the first time for the podcast. And having watched it now, the context that I went into watching it. So, like I was saying, for the last 10 years, like we've talked about this movie a lot. We used to play games based on it in Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, and Halo, like everywhere. Like I spent so much time hearing about this movie and how great it was. And finally, having watched it, I feel like it's a good example of me getting a little too overhyped because I enjoyed it. I thought it was well acted and I thought it had a good spectacle. But I found the runtime to be a little too long, and I found it not boring, but kind of, I don't know. There wasn't enough substance for me. I felt like there wasn't enough character development on my side. Like I couldn't help but compare
Everett
this
with
movie
the
to.
rare accurate take.
Well, I Thank you, I guess.
No, you're nailing it. You don't usually do that.
Well, I couldn't help but compare this to Saving Private Ryan, and I felt like in Saving Private Ryan they sort of gave you the, like the good scope of it all. They gave you the action and the gore, but they also gave you the time to get to know the characters, which is what made their deaths a little bit more tragic. This you kind of just watch the Rangers get tossed into the blender, but I'm not like I'm saying I didn't think it was a bad movie. Emerson, like you were saying, I think I only caught one scene that really took me out for a second for this the dated CGI, but other than that, like Ridley Scott sort of has a mixed bag of movies that he's made, and I'd sort of put this maybe somewhere down the middle. But anyway, yeah, it's a draw.
Um, have you always been a Somali sympathizer?
No, very recently.
It was Captain Phillips that did it.
Okay,
I
so
am
we
the
actually
captain
said
now.
that we were going to do 127 hours.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but the reason we did Black Hawk Down is because I've been on summer break and I've been reading a lot of books and mainly war memoirs, to be honest. Um, so even though I've read this book, I've actually read this book a lot. Um, I first got it in sixth grade when I asked my mom while we were at Barnes and Nobles if I could please have it. I believe it cost about $5 back then. Um, and so my mom got it for me. It was way too hard for me. Like it took me a long time to read it. And I'm not saying like reading is hard for me. I was always a pretty good reader, but there's just so many acronyms and like I had no idea what the story would be and this absolute scale of it, like of all the different people, like it was a lot for me to wrap my head around. It's a much easier read now as an adult. It's a much easier read. Um, but I read it every year when we had 3 days of testing, state testing. They tell you to bring a book. I would bring this book every year and I would read it. And one time we had a Marine, a former alumni, come to our middle school and talk to us. And I think he was a Marine. Maybe he was just the Army or something. But and one of our teachers was a former Marine, I think. And they were just talking, and somebody asked about the Medal of Honor, blah blah blah, and they're like, we think the last two guys to get it were those guys in Mogadishu. And I was like, Randy Sugar and Gary Gordon. They both looked at me like what the hell? Why do you know that? Like, because I jumped up because I knew the answer. I really did. Because I had read the book. And so I have read it. I read it since I was 13. I read it probably one more time in my 20s, I think. And then I read it again this time. And I remember when I read it again in my 20s, I found it to be a much easier read. Um, so all that to say, like, there's two ways to kind of look at this movie is um, as an accurate representation of a historical event or as just like a war movie, like for entertainment purposes. Whatever you think a war movie is, like, is it entertainment? Is it just meant to remind you that like people are fighting and dying in wars? Whatever you like in a war movie. Because like Saving Private Ryan, even though it's fictional, is a lot about like reminding you about the sacrifice people make. Whereas I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like We Were Soldiers was kind of more about like this was a crazy battle that happened. That was the Vietnam one with Mel Gibson. Um, very similar to this because it was a large scale battle. And I think that one movie suffers from a lot of the same issues as this, which is like Everett said, the substance isn't there. They try because if you read the book and then you watch the movie and you see like they the way that they like stitch together different moments between the characters, like before the mission and after the mission, like because they tried to cram it all. This stuff happened over the weeks that they were there, but it all made it seem like it happened that day. Little things like the division between the Delta Boys and the Rangers, and but you miss so much of it. Obviously, it's cliche to say that the book is better than the movie, but to judge the movie on its own, I would agree with Everett that it's you kind of get lost in it. It doesn't do like in terms of a historical like depiction, it really doesn't do justice to the scale and the length of the battle, especially in terms of like the distance and the range traveled and like the pivoting that was happening and all the things that went wrong. It just can't because it's only 2.5 hours. Like it just can't do it. Ultimately, what it comes down to is like there are some guys that die that I know their names. The movie doesn't tell you because it's impossible to tell you that. Um, but like I was like, oh, they added that death. They didn't put this one in. And so it was just kind of just watching it. Like it's hard to get a sense of the distance of the battle, which is I think that's the most important thing is understanding where things are in terms of location and context. But then part of the story is that they get lost. The convoy gets lost, and while they do say dialogue and things like that, it isn't like you're not really with them. Like you don't really understand. It's not like the movie was just one convoy, one car in a convoy, and you're in them with it, and they're like talking to each other the whole time. Like, hey, what are we doing now? What's going on? Why are we missing? It's not like that. It's jumping around the whole time, so you don't get those little moments of like their thinking and what's happening. The book does though. The book has it all. Um, I This movie came out in 2001. I don't think I saw it in theaters, and I think I read the book first, and then I probably watched the movie and was like, "Holy shit, that was awesome!" And like and I don't know that I've watched it since. And watching it now, I do sort of have like a soft spot for the movie because I like the visual. We don't have a lot of movies set in that time period, so that's kind of cool. I like to see them in their desert fatigues and like prior to this, the only movie was Three Kings. You guys know what that one is?
Yeah, I've seen Three Kings.
George
Not me.
Clooney and Ice Cube
Hmm.
and someone else, I forget. And they're trying to rob like an Iraqi
It's like the gold.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found some gold and they're trying. It's not really a war movie, but that was the closest thing you had to like a desert war movie before this. And now I guess you have a couple some other things like 9/11 movies, that sort of thing. Um,
You know what I was reminded of when I watched this movie? Have you guys ever seen that movie called Act of Valor?
I don't
No.
think I've seen it actually, but it's the one with the real Navy SEALs, right?
Mm-hmm. I saw it once, but for whatever reason, that brought back memories.
Did you like it?
I saw it in theaters one time with my mother when like in 2012 when it came out. So yeah, I think I
I
liked it back
remember there
then.
being a lot of hype about, and I would have seen it. I think I was just busy. I think I was in college, and there was a lot of hype about real Navy SEALs doing it. And then it came out. Whoever saw it, and like no one ever spoke of it again. And
Yeah,
that's
I
kind of
heard
why I never.
I remember the trailers were like hyping up the real Navy SEALs, but like the acting and the dialogue did not feel great because
Yeah.
of that.
That's what my coworker said, which is obviously the trade off.
Like I
Um,
said, I haven't seen it in over 10 years. It's
One
for
sec,
whatever
someone's
reason
at
I'm
my door. I'll
reminded
be
of
right
that.
back.
I'll also say like this movie makes basically no attempt to make the characters look at all like their real life counterparts.
Really?
Like at all. They don't look alike at all. Um, I didn't give my rating yet. I give it a draw also.
Hmm.
Like I don't think it's a bad movie, but I don't think that it's particularly good either. Like if I'm going to sit you down and show you a war movie, this isn't going to be
I'm back.
one of them. It might be in my top 5 to 7 war movies. Certainly wouldn't be in the top 3 for me.
So, did you give it a ranking while I was
Yeah,
gone?
it's a draw, just like Everett.
Okay.
Um,
See, it's interesting because one of the things I would say is I actually think it's pretty effective at showing the things you're describing, Kia, without telling you. Like it feels like they're lost. And like even though I understand that the sense of scale and the distances involved get like I think the movie translates pretty well. Like they're lost, there are things they're not taking into account, they're not prepared for a response like this. They're overly confident in their own abilities. They don't expect the immediate response by the militia. Uh
Possibly, but you also don't know all the things that I know that like aren't in it.
sure.
So like that's kind of the thing is like you judge this solely as a movie. It's hard for me to do that. That's kind of why I wanted to read the book first
Yeah.
because at least I could bring that perspective.
I try to
Like
read the book after I see movies.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's
Hmm.
I think a lot of people do. But like for one thing in the convoy, when they're moving out in the convoy to try to get to the first crash site, a lot of they're like packed in as sardines because they sent 3 Humvees back with some of the injured people.
Hmm.
So they're packed in like sardines. The Humvees don't have armor plating at all. So like the bullets are just going through. So they're all trapped in there, like laying on top of each other, literally laying on top of each other, and they're driving through, and the Somalis are just shooting, and the anything that hits the Humvee is hitting somebody every time. And they're going like back and back and forth because they're lost. There's a big delay. There's one line that Tom Sizemore says. I think his name is McKnight in this, where he's like, "There's a delay. You have to tell us before we get to the turn." And
Yeah,
so
and
they
the
would
guy
just
says like,
constantly. It went on for a long time to the point where they eventually were just like, "Just go home." Now, what's interesting is Josh Hartnett's character was on that convoy, and like was not in the rest of the battle. But they kind of blended him with two other people, and they put him in like when Corporal Smith dies, Eversman is not there in that scene at all, and he was back at base already with that lost convoy. Um, there's a couple
That's not the
guys.
guy that got hit by the RPG, was it?
The one that was in his
no.
body.
Yeah.
No, his name was Alphabet. Kowalski, like whatever they called him, Alphabet as a nickname.
Oh.
And yeah, no, that's Josh Hartnett's character. Oh, are you talking about Jamie Smith?
Well,
No,
you're talking about the convoy. I'm just remembering where the guy got hit, like impaled with the RPG.
yeah, that was Alphabet. Jamie Smith is like one of the main deaths in the movie. He's the one that like he got shot in the leg. And the movie doesn't quite say it, but he got shot up too high for them to tourniquet it.
Hmm.
And then it was his femoral artery that was bleeding, and they had to clamp it, but it had since it got severed, it had pulled up into his body. And that's why the doc had to stick his hand in and try to pull it back out, and they couldn't do it. And so he had like a long, agonizing death. They were waiting for the convoy to come, and it never came. And it was just long and just went on and on and on until they finally died. It was brutal. It's one of the ones like all the people talk about um, that they remember. Um, so here's a funny one. Okay, first of all, in this movie, they cast a lot of British actors, and they are having a very, very hard time suppressing their accent.
Yeah, I noticed that with what's his name?
Ewan
Or or,
McGregor,
and
Ewan
Orlando
McGregor, but
Bloom.
more
Tom Hardy.
nope.
They all, I
Uh
mean, they were all pretty
it
bad.
was it's Malfoy's father.
Oh, Jason Isaacs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
who it is.
yeah, and he's also like they're trying to talk in like American Southern accents, and it's just a little stupid, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, I like as I said, I don't know these real guys. But like I thought the acting was fine. I think I'm more interpreting this as like a general like overview of like the vibe of what happened of like the movie.
Yeah, and
And
I
like
just I feel like
from
it barely
my
scratched the surface.
well, yeah, but that's every movie to be honest. Like even Napoleon like barely scratches the surface, but this is a better movie than Napoleon was.
Yeah. Um, I don't think that you can tell a story on this large of a scale in 2 hours.
So it should have been a mini series.
Should have been a miniseries,
I can agree with that.
but the real
Called
problem
Band
is you
of
just have too
Skinnies.
many people. Like I'm reading the book and I'm imagining how this because I know that the movie doesn't have these scenes, but like there are scenes of like why the guy joined the army. And you know, some of them are the cliche, like they watched Rambo and blah blah blah, and they were going. And so, like, you could spend 10 seconds showing him like watching war movies as a kid, and then cut to him shooting women and children in Somalia. Like, just giving a little bit of context to these people, but it's not that. It's literally just soldier shooting, soldier shooting, soldier shooting, mob of people, soldier shooting, soldier shooting. Oh, I'm hit. And then cut to the next scene, rinse and repeat forever. And it's not their fault because the battle was really like that, but you lose track of it so quickly. It's like whatever it was saying, there's not enough substance to really sink your teeth into what's going on.
But
They go ahead.
but that to me is like I understand what you're saying, and like obviously you're objectively correct, but like I feel like that's kind of what I like about the movie because it makes me feel like it's just endless chaos and like constantly things like falling apart and no one knows where they
I mean,
are and
if
they're
that's what you want from a war movie, then it's good. Yeah.
not every war movie.
Yeah.
But
But
my
it does a good job
understanding
of
is
that.
that that was what this battle was like for a lot of the people on the ground. Like it was, and
I
you can
think
tell me if
most
I'm wrong.
battles are like that, but
But my understanding of it is that this was like a uniquely problematic scenario because they couldn't just level the whole place. They were fighting asymmetrical forces. They didn't have heavier armor. They didn't have heavier air support. They also had a limited number of troops, and that their support was further away and less prepared than it was supposed to be. And so,
Um, I think you're doing a lot of you're letting the Americans off the hook a lot.
Like
in
I
what
feel like I
way?
kind of need those moments to breathe in between the action.
In what
They
way?
they yeah, and there's no time for that ever, right? Because it's already 2.5 hours. Um, like they were there because they were gonna do some like Ghost Recon Wildlands thing where they were hi Cassie, where they were just gonna go in and take out like a entire warlord
Yeah.
criminal organization, which is completely naive. Like, of course, we've learned those lessons now, but I don't know if we have actually. But
No, I agree with you that like the whole point of the mission was idiotic, but what I'm saying is like the way that the physical battle unfolded, it feels to me,
like I said, they didn't communicate. I didn't say it yet, but they didn't communicate with the reserves of the 10th Mountain Division and the Pakistani UN force. They did not communicate that. So when the time came for the reinforcements to come, that they wasn't ready, and it wasn't because like they weren't ready when they were supposed to be. It's because they were so arrogant that they thought that
yeah,
they
the
were just going to go
movie,
in into the. It was a literal um wasp's nest, and they were what the section that they went into is like the giant hotspot of Adid's strength.
yeah, but they say that in the movie even. They like when they contact the 10th Mountain and the Pakistanis, they say like you didn't tell us you were doing this, so we aren't ready to go. Like,
Yeah, but that's so like by the time they even reached out to them, they were still trying to manage the situation, thinking that they were in control. Like there's so much context not in it. For example, you barely see them. Oh, they didn't bring their bayonets because they didn't think that they would be fighting in close quarters. They didn't bring the back of the armor plates.
yeah,
They
that's
didn't
in the
bring
They
movie
didn't bring
water.
their
though.
night vision.
They didn't bring their night
Yeah.
vision. But this is like when you read the book, this is a constant problem for them. Everything that they needed, they left behind except for ammo. And so it's like a complete disaster. They thought they were going to do in a quick raid. It was supposed to be over within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they say that a few times,
yeah,
quite a few times actually.
Well, but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying here. Like, I feel like obviously 100% there are a million things that's missing. I don't doubt that. But like, it kind of seems like in the broad strokes, it was like showing you
hey,
things that were like,
go.
it was showing like, look how unprepared they are. Look how egotistical they were. Look how like horribly this was planned. Like, like what their plan is doesn't really make sense. They don't even know they're in the right house. Like, their informant is saying, like, oh, it's the wrong building. Now it's the right building. Like, it goes wrong like pretty quickly. I don't know. I feel like in broad strokes, like if I was gonna do this movie, I like you've been talking a lot about like thinking about like how you don't think it's possible. And I'm like, I kind of feel like this is the best version of like a film about it you're gonna get.
It is, but if you really want to like understand what happened there, this isn't it. This would just be like a cool war movie to be like, whoa, this mission was crazy. Like, that's wild that
Sure,
happened.
and I when I
Like
read the
you're
book,
sort of
I'm sure
blurring the
I'll have
line.
more.
You're blurring the line between whether or not you want to make like a good demonstration of filmmaking of warfare and or a dramatization of a story that already exists. So if you're trying for the dramatization, if you have to have that character development, you have to have established personalities, so it makes the ultimate shit hits the fan moment that much better. But like what you're describing is the demonstration of war. Like we've all said, the movie is well shot. It holds up pretty well, and for the most part, it sort of sticks to the timeline of what you've given for the actual story. But they're like they had to take some leeway for what they did. And
Yeah.
I still really feel like they needed those little moments to breathe, and it's
Well, also, and that's why I think a miniseries would be better because, for example, when Dominic Pilla gets killed, that's a really big deal because it was the first sign, aside from Blackburn falling from the helicopter, it was the first sign of like we're losing control of the situation pretty fast. And he was like the jokester, and you see a scene, but you don't even know who he is when you see the scene where he's impersonating Captain Steele, and that's him, but you don't even know who that guy is. And by the time he gets shot and he's the first KIA, you don't know anything about that. Like um a lot of those guys, like there was a group of 4 or 5 guys that went to the beach that day and went swimming in the beach in the water. And like 2 or 3 of those guys died. And they were together that day and they're hearing on the radio that that guy is dead. And they don't talk about how he got he got shot right in the bridge of his nose and it caved his complete face in. And he falls back into the lap of the guy. I mean, it's just like it's really tame, kind of the way that they showed it in the movie. And then there are others like I liked how they showed Joyce's death, which was the one where they don't really give you context. He just suddenly dies, but it was kind of like that. One of his friends saw a barrel sticking out of a window, and he wasn't wearing the back armor plating, and just shot and killed him just out of nowhere. And the movie does do like it kind of stops for a second when that happens, but like you don't know anything about Joyce watching that movie. It's just the
Well,
guy.
correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they have that scene earlier in the movie where they're saying like you don't need to wear this armor plating because you'll be running away, like
Yeah,
aim towards the enemy, and that's how he dies anyway.
but what I'm saying is like you have no idea who that person is
Hmm.
when you're watching the movie, and you don't understand the impact that had. He was one of the guys that went swimming, so that's 2 of them already. And like so I just don't think that I don't particularly like it. I think that if they made an action figure of Josh Hartnett with those fatigues and stuff, I like it for the visual aspect. Um, but this isn't one that I think that I'll revisit. I'll probably reread the book again before I ever watch this movie again. Um, uh, Remind me because I can't remember. Was there a scene where an American soldier got run over by a Humvee?
No.
I mean, there
Okay.
was that scene at the end where you had the guy holding his kid almost get run over by the Humvee, but
No,
that's the
no, and
closest
that
thing I
was in
can
the book
remember.
actually. But I believe, and I was trying to find. I'm pretty sure I read like one of the guys got shot while he was driving, and the glass was in his eyes and he couldn't see, and like one of the other
Yeah,
guys got shot in the road and he ran him over by accident.
I don't
Something
remember
like that
the
happened.
getting because I watched this yesterday. I don't remember him getting run over. I remember the scene where he gets the glass in his eyes and the guy next to him keeps yelling, "Keep your foot on the gas," and he's driving. But
Yeah,
there's no hit and run. It's just
yeah.
he can't see, and that's when they decide to retreat.
So Grimes in this movie is actually a character named Stebbins, and they call him Stebby. And in this movie, they call Ewan McGregor Grimy. He was the guy that made the coffee and got his chance to go. So the reason why they changed his name is because the army demanded it, because Stebbins was a career military guy who ended up getting convicted for sodomizing his daughter.
Oh.
Oh shit.
So yeah, he's a hero. But his story, and I don't know if you guys like grasp this, but he almost got killed like a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, he was seconds from death repeatedly. He was with
Yeah,
the Delta guys. Like he kept going out into harm's way. Like,
yeah, yeah. So, and then his name was changed. William Victor, he played Sanderson, one of the Delta guys. That guy's name is actual Paul Howe, but he wouldn't allow his name to be used. Um, and then they blended a couple people. So just as an example, there were like 184 guys involved in this
hmm
battle on the American
Hmm.
side. The book follows about 80 of them. The movie follows about 20 of them,
yeah,
which is still a lot of people for a movie.
Yeah.
And so that kind of tells you like you that should give you an idea of how much is not in it. Um and just some other inaccuracies, which I don't know if it really matters, but the first Black Hawk crash actually crashed inside an alley, which made it really problematic to get rescue teams in there, and it's why they had trouble cutting out the bodies out of the
hmm
cockpit. That was a big problem, and the fight over it. And there was like a Volkswagen, a little green Volkswagen that was a particular point of like they were using it for cover, and enemies were coming through it, and they were hiding underneath it, and none of that's in there because they had it fall in a giant courtyard. Um, yeah, and then so like the part at the end again, that one I also it's hard for me to wrap my head around in the book. And in the movie, I feel like we barely even see it, but they literally like some of them had to run out of the city, like
Yeah.
straight up. People are shooting at them. They're just running behind the convoy. And the movie, I feel like, did not do that part justice because
I
it
mean,
seems
it shows it,
insane to
but
me.
it's like the last 5 seconds. So
Yeah,
it's
there's
like,
hardly anything in it because it needs to get to
I
the
I,
football stadium.
I actually kind of like one shot of that scene. I did find it kind of weird how there are those Somali kids running along with them, but you see all these guys running down the street, and behind them you see like the legion of people that they were just facing off against, just standing there.
Yeah,
I feel like that sort of shows the scope of what they were just dealing with. I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah. Well, okay. So, speaking of the documentary, which I just watched, it's new. I'm not sure why they just brought this out, but it's new. The documentary follows some soldiers that were barely mentioned in the book, definitely
mm,
not highlighted in the movie. So it follows some of those guys, which it's fine. One of them is the soldier who doesn't want to go back in, but ultimately does. Um, and then they actually have a lot of Somali interviews, which I thought because the book has some Somali accounts, but not that many of them. And this one was just like just women that were there, like and dude, like I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the Americans killed a lot of people, like a lot of people. They lost 19 overall while they were in Mogadishu. By the way, did you guys know like, and this is in the book, did you know that a Black Hawk got shot down like a couple days before
yeah, I
this
remember
happened?
reading that a while ago.
Yeah, like they shot a
Like
Black
they
Hawk
knew
down.
they had anti-air capability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they had like legit weapons. Um,
And they sent
and
him in anyway.
they sent him in because they're like it's going to be quick and like they just thought they could do it. And you know they like they were supposed to get a did the general, and this mission was only going for some of his top lieutenants that were meeting together. Like
Yeah.
they kind of like moved the goalposts to make it more achievable for them, um, hoping that if they took these guys out, that A did would like I don't know concede somehow. Um, but so they lost 19 guys in all of this, and there was one guy who survived the whole thing, and 2 days later just got hit with a stray mortar at the hangar.
Ooh.
And they were mortaring them the entire time. They were just such bad shots that no one cared. They started ignoring them. Um, estimates of Somali casualties are like 3 to 500.
Yeah. This movie says 800, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think
Um,
they know what the real number is. To be honest, they killed everybody they saw.
yeah.
Like,
So the one thing that I do know about, so you know that Farid's son was a Marine.
I think I did know this.
Yeah. So he was a Marine in the US and he was in Somalia serving as a translator between his father and the 10th Mountain, like before this
Uh
happened.
huh. Yeah.
And then he ended up going home and then he got visited and told to like ask his father to release the pilot, like when that
Oh
happened.
yeah, that's
And
not in the
then
book.
and then he ended up going back to Somalia like later after his dad died and becoming like the interim president of Somalia. Like he took over the militia.
Really.
Yeah. And like did militia things, which is kind of insane.
A did was eventually assassinated.
Yeah, he got killed eventually, and
And
that's when his son came.
in the interviews, one of the guys is like, these soldiers that they sent, they're schoolboys. I've been in 30 or 40 battles, you know, because he's talking about like gang battles, basically.
Yeah.
But they're not like tactical.
Yeah,
They're just
that's
running
why it was
around.
19 to like everyone dies. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but they were not it's true, they were not afraid. Like you have to understand, they're not afraid to die. And they might be easily killed, but there's a whole city of them.
Yeah.
And they I don't know, I just like one of the guys in the interviews, he talks about how at first he was trying to obey the rules of engagement, and then after Dominic Pilla got killed, he was like, anybody that even looks at me is dying. Which I kind of understand that too, because why if there's a giant gunfight, stay home. if you're not staying home, then you're up to no good. And they would bring their kids with them and use them as shields and stuff. And yeah,
That's brutal.
but some of it, like that one scene where the guy slips in the doorway and the kid
And the
kills his
kid
father.
shoots his dad.
That's
Yeah.
not in the book. I don't know if that's real. Um, but there were a lot of things like they would go into like little buildings and encounter children huddled like and stuff like that. That one of the interviews was the woman. She was next to. She lived in the alley where the first Black Hawk crashed, and and she had just given birth, and so, like literally just given birth. And when the Black Hawk crashed, she passed out, and she woke up, and um, the Americans were trying to get in. They didn't know that they were in there. They were just trying to like secure the area, and that's where they stayed for the night. And so she had her newborn, and they handcuffed her husband because they didn't trust them, and Somalis were trying to kill them. And she could hear them talking outside, like they knew that there was a family in there, and they're like, "Should we just kill them, or or should we try to negotiate with them? Should just kill everybody?" Like, just weird. And like her daughter's like, I don't know how many years ago was this?
It's like 30
1993.
years ago, right?
No, I think it was
It's
it
like
was 20.
94, right?
It was 93.
Yeah. So isn't that like 30 years?
Yeah.
Am
Well,
I doing
a
the math?
little, a
Oh
little, a
yeah, I'm
little over
thinking of
30 years.
2003. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
what are you saying?
Yeah. Um yeah, so she was an adult, and um this other woman was trying to find her family, and she had like two sons and her husband and then daughter, and they were all dead except for the daughter who had been blinded. And so you see her now walking, and she's blind, like she can't see. And they showed all those Somalis, like guy with an eye patch, guy with like holes in his chest, guy with holes in his legs, like just crazy stuff. And they're like they just talk about how it was one of the worst days ever for them. And I don't know. I don't know. It was it's just it's a funny thing in hindsight, because when I remember when I was 11 and I read the book, I'm like, these are the good guys. They went in, and those were the bad guys. And I'm not saying that the Somalis were good guys, but
Well, it's more like, why were we like, it's horrible what's happening there. It sucks that a lot of people are dying, but it's like, w we know now, even though we still do fucked up things, like, you can't solve violence with violence. Like, you can't go
yeah,
into a civil war and just start killing people and then you'll have peace.
yeah,
Mhm.
and also like to think that even if you did kill them, that would solve anything.
No, and like, because the problem, my understanding is that like Somalia, it really didn't matter what you're gonna do. They didn't have food, they didn't have jobs, they didn't have money. The whole country, like it was a failed state.
Yeah,
So
and that's what
like,
I didn't get to do a lot of research about, is because they had infrastructure. It had
well,
just
because
all gone to shit.
they had been, well, so I actually know a little bit about why. So they had been a united country that was a communist country. They received a lot of support from the Soviet Union. They got a lot of their infrastructure and their weapons from there. And then they had a coup, and then the new president invaded Ethiopia
Oh.
because he was like, "Oh, we're gonna take over party," and Ethiopia like kicked the shit out of him. And then after Ethiopia kicked the shit out of him, parts of the military started like fighting with other parts of the military,
Oh, okay.
and the government just like collapsed, and like no one was in charge.
Because like people live in apartments there, but they have campfires inside the house.
Yeah,
Like
because
it's
there's
the
no power, there's no
yeah,
water.
but
It's
there
just
was
like
like there
there
was a
was, yeah,
hotel, there were things
yeah,
there, and now it's just
yeah.
like
It just fell apart, and
yeah,
like
and it
it
still
all
is, I think.
became like tribal insanity, and like yeah.
Well, it's actually why I think one of my favorite scenes in this movie was after the pilot gets captured and he sort of gets
Mark
interrogated
Durant.
by that one dude, where he basically explains like, you guys think you can come in here and kill our leaders and we'll all bow down and like start with American democracy. No, like there's always going to be killing here regardless of what you do.
There is so much more to that guy that because they were he was there for like 8 days or something.
Yeah, I think it was 11 days.
And
Durant.
yeah, and he speaks like they had a lot of back and forth, and that's a very interesting part of the book too. And they interview him in the documentary. Let's just talk about the cast a little bit.
I like Josh Hartnett. I don't see him in a lot of
Hartnett.
stuff.
He was in Oppenheimer. Well, he
Yeah.
left. He left Hollywood for a while. He was something happened and he got like he didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
That's interesting.
Well, we
Yeah, there
can
were a lot
see
of
it in
famous
his
people in this
filmography.
movie.
Like he really took a big step. He was a big name. Like when this came out, the fact that he was in it was a big deal. Um, he's back now.
Yeah, he did Trap and everything.
Let's see. This was around.
He's in The Bear.
I have to look. It might.
I thought it said that
Is this
somewhere.
actor or is it actor? Yeah. Let's see. Um,
Who the fuck is Frank?
what do you mean, Frank?
It says he was Frank in The Bear. Is he in season 3? I didn't see season 3.
So he was in Pearl Harbor, which is not a great movie.
Where?
I believe he was the opposite lead to Ben Affleck.
I don't fucking
Really?
remember him at all.
Yeah, that was kind of his big one. Let's see.
Huh. All right.
Because weren't there two pilots? Like,
There
wasn't
were two pilots,
Yeah.
but I don't remember. I barely remember Ben Affleck to be. Oh my God, you're right.
and Kate Beckinsale?
I think he's the dude that ends up
Seeing
seducing
him, I'm
her.
like, oh yeah, he is the other pilot. But like in my memory, I don't have like any.
So you know that he was up for Batman,
You've mentioned that, I think.
and he could
How
have been
ironic that
good.
he was right next to Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that's funny. And then the next big thing. Okay, so then he was in Black Hawk Down after. 40 Days and 40 Nights was a big movie, but I never saw it. Hollywood Homicide is like one of those comedy things, dark
Jesus.
comedies or something. Sin City, no, I guess not really.
I remember wasn't he in 30 Days of Night?
Yeah, we passed that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he was in Sin
No,
City.
that was 20 days. That was 40 days. 30 days of nights up ahead.
Oh, 40 Days and 40 Nights. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh, 30 Days of Night. Okay, yeah.
It's like a zombie movie
I'm
or
trying to see
something.
where he like
Vampires.
left.
Vampires, never mind.
Something happened and he was like, all right, I'm done with this.
Well,
But he
like you
kept
can see him slowing down. Like he
kept
goes from like
working, yeah. And he would just show up in little things, but like this was kind of I feel like his last big movie. Black Dahlia was a big role for him. Lucky Number 11, we watched that, didn't we?
I didn't.
No, I don't
We
think so.
reviewed it
No, we definitely did not.
because I remember there was some reason that I was like, I like this movie. It was similar to something else.
You might have seen it and reviewed it, but I don't think we
No,
reviewed it.
we never reviewed that movie.
Are you sure, Ever? Can you look up our
Yeah.
episode list?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I feel like I was like, yeah, this one was a good movie. No one remembers. Um, and yeah, so like he's no longer in any big things.
Nope, nothing.
We never did that one.
No,
Nope.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know what that is.
He's in Black Mirror. That's
And so
a big one.
basically, yeah, like he showed up in a couple things, but basically until Oppenheimer, that was a big return.
He's
And
only
The
in one
Bear,
episode of The Bear.
yeah, let's see. I heard The Bear is coming back.
Yeah, I heard, but I still haven't watched season 3.
Yeah, do yourself a favor and never watch it. Oh, he isn't he like
Oh,
the husband?
his husband, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean. He like shows up in random things, and you're like, oh, that's Josh Hartnett. But
Hmm.
yeah, I would for me, Oppenheimer was the first time I'd seen him in anything for real.
And then Trap, he has like his own movie.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, Trap is something I want to
I
see
didn't
at
see
some
it.
point.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
That's why I want to see it.
I'm surprised he's doing this. This just seems like the same thing as that Bullet Train movie and that Liam Neeson movie where he's on a plane. And
I
wasn't there
hate,
another plane movie?
yeah, there was like security or whatever, flight. I don't remember what it was called. There's a lot of movies.
I
The
haven't
Liam
seen.
Neeson one.
That was like nonstop, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
what this
nonstop.
is.
Or The Gray, if you're thinking of that one.
But The Gray isn't on a
No,
plane, is it?
no. I mean, it's a plane crash, which is a pretty good one. We've watched that, right?
No.
No.
We've never seen The Gray.
Nope.
No. You keep like pigeonholing things you've watched into like we did this on the podcast, right?
It's just like because in my mind I feel like I've watched it in the last 5 years, and I assumed that it was because of the podcast. The Gray is a good movie. All right. Anyway, let's look at um the cast here. So we know we got Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor. We saw Tom Sizemore as McKnight. He was driving the convoy. Eric Bana plays a Delta guy named Hoot, who is based on this guy named Hooten. William Fichtner was the Paul Howe Delta guy.
I love William Fichtner.
Ewan Bremner, he was Nelson. He was the guy that went deaf.
Mhm.
Sam Shepard was General Garrison. I don't know who this Gabriel guy is. And I also don't remember seeing him. I know him from Sons of Anarchy, but I don't remember which actor he was. But Hugh Dancy is a name, isn't he? Kind of a known name.
Not that I recognize.
That name sounds really familiar. He's in Spider-Man, Hannibal, Adam, Hysteria. I don't know. I feel like I've heard his name before.
He's in Downton Abbey.
Yeah. I guess I don't know him. Ron Eldard was played the pilot, but I don't. Eon Gruffard.
Oh yeah, Mr. Fantastic.
I don't remember seeing him in this though. Do you guys remember? That
No.
name doesn't.
Oh
Wheels?
yeah. I see him. I
Who's
remembered
Wheels?
him. He pops up for a second. I was like, oh hey, it's Mr. Fantastic.
What did he do?
He like there's one scene in the pre-war thing where he like
Okay,
talks to somebody, and I was like, oh, that's him.
Uric.
I completely missed that.
This guy's in Mad Men. He played Smith, the one who died like the agonizing death.
He kind of
Um,
looks like Charlie Cox.
a little bit, yeah. He was in Mad Men. He was I don't even remember her name anymore. The girl's boyfriend. They broke up. Um, Dominic Pilla, this guy. Jason Isaacs,
Yeah.
Captain Steel. This guy was one of the guys in the helicopters. So was he. We've seen
Jeremy
him.
Piven was in this movie.
Yeah, he was Cliff Wolcott. So
I missed that too.
just for and he had a lot of FaceTime, but just Emerson, when you were gone, I said that um they made no effort to make the guys look at all like the real life counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's nickname was Elvis. Like that's what he looked like. He was like a full faced guy, big dude.
I just started rewatching Entourage. I feel like I should have caught that.
I've been meaning to go back and look at that again. Yeah, so Jeremy Piven was Wolcott, which is, to me is like horrible casting, but it doesn't matter, right? Because no one cares. This is Alphabet Kowalski.
Hmm. Yeah, I recognize that
I
guy.
didn't even. Yeah. Johnny Strong is Randy Sugart, who's like both of these Delta guys that dropped down. Both had like permanent mustaches. Neither one of them has mustaches. Like at least give him the mustache. Like Bush. I think like we've seen this guy in things, but
Yeah, I've seen him somewhere.
Hmm.
he was one of the Delta guys in the first crash site that crawled
Yeah.
out and tried to defend.
Yeah.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau, I recognize.
Yeah, I recognized him
Strucker
too.
was the driver with Tom Sizemore. Yeah,
Yep.
he played Gary Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of his
I
first.
really like I really like the dialogue they use with the pilot when they rescue the pilot. Like I think it's good dialogue, if it's real or not.
What?
When like they rescue the pilot and he's like where's the rescue squad? And they're like, we're it.
We're it.
And then he says like watch our back, and then he comes back, he's like, blah blah blah's gone.
Yeah, it's not
Like
real.
good well, it's good dialogue. I'm just gonna say it. It's good dialogue.
They came in like total professionals, didn't say anything. They moved him out and they put him in an area, and the pilot was Durant was very like impressed with the way they positioned him because he could cover both sides of the bird. And he was just sitting back there, and he did at some point he realized like there were no other people there, like just based on the noises. And then one of the guys came back, and I think at that point he tells him like, you know, like Gary's gone, it's just me, and that's it. That's all but he doesn't. They never say like there's no rescue team coming or anything. Like they actually died pretty quickly, and they gave him the Medal of Honor. But those guys really shouldn't have dropped down because the pilot was going to get overrun anyway, and like
Yeah.
that was not smart. Like they basically just wasted two Delta snipers for no reason. But Tom Hardy, Twombly,
Yeah.
uh, Galentine got his thumb shot off. In the book, there's a picture of him with Bill Clinton. I think that might be the extent of Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, Blackburn. I
That
didn't
was really
realize Blackburn
unfortunate.
survived. In my mind, I thought he died.
Yeah, I also
No,
thought
he
he died,
survived. Yeah,
but I found it really unfortunate how he got there. He had no experience, and he just falls out.
yeah, yeah. Some Somali actors now.
Dude, it's so funny to me. It's like
Ty Burrell.
they're like getting all yeah, I remember him. Um I just think it's funny that like they put out a casting call. Like it must suck to be like a Somali guy who's like, "Oh, I'm finally gonna be like in Hollywood." And it's like you're gonna be bad guy number 15.
Do you
Well, remember
remember
the
when?
Captain Phillips guy,
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
But the only role I've ever seen him in is Blade Runner.
Captain Phillips guy.
Yeah. Blade
No, he
Runner
was. He's
2049.
he's been like. I feel like he was in a comedy.
Well,
I
we
mean,
looked
I
at his
haven't
IMDb, and it's all like Somali guy.
We saw him in something else.
we saw him in Blade Runner 2049.
No, there was something else. Good Time. Yeah, I saw him in Good Time. That's what you guys didn't see that. I did. That's why I knew there was something else. He's got he's got some things.
What's Blade Runner Black Lotus?
It's the animated series, isn't it?
Seems
They have an
something like
animated series? I didn't know
I
about
thought
that.
so. I don't I've heard of it. I just don't I remember thinking it was like weird when I heard about it.
the Pirates of Somalia. He played a rookie journalist, half-baked plan to embed himself with the Pirates of Somalia. He ultimately succeeds in providing the first close-up look into who these men are. Yeah, could be interesting. Is that Quicksilver guy? Yeah, Evan Peters.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Too bad the rating's not a little higher. I would have given this a shot.
what was that movie we watched with Colin Farrell and Al Pacino, where he was like
Oh, it's the same movie.
he's like training to be like a CIA
The
agent or something?
Recruit. That was written
Yeah,
by Wolf's dad.
I remember.
I remember I liked
I
that
like that
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Didn't he also write Ultraviolet?
Didn't he also write Point Break?
Yeah. What was his name? Wimmer?
Kurt Wimmer? Kurt. Yeah.
Equilibrium. Yeah, that's what he's known for. Let's see what he's been up to.
Total Recall. The Beekeeper.
Expendables 4.
Wait, upcoming. What are his three upcoming?
Oh man, my parents
Beekeeper
love The
The
2.
Beekeeper.
Beekeeper 2.
Salt again? Oh, for a TV movie? What?
Oh god, I remember
Somalia?
watching Salt
These
in
must
theaters.
just be like
That's fucking funny.
Children of the Corn.
The 2020 version.
Oh, I remember the original one was pretty terrifying.
Point Break, the 2015 version.
Find your breaking point.
Total Recall, the
The
2012.
2012 version.
Law Abiding Citizen, that one's not bad.
You know what's funny is I
I've actually
actually
never
think
seen it.
the 2012 Total Recall could be a great movie if it wasn't Total Recall. Like if it was its own thing and they
I
leaned
never
into it.
saw it. I've actually seen none of these except for The Recruit.
It has some cool
I watched
CGI.
Salt when it was in theaters.
That's all it has going for it, to be honest.
You know what I think about whenever I see Salt, which is why I didn't see it.
What?
When I worked at the library, this guy came in, and you know how we put stuff back on our carts?
Yeah.
We push the carts around, and like so it's like people have access to the books that we're putting back.
Yeah.
He came in and put his CDs on our cart, thinking that we would just re-rack them, but they're not like they're not processed, so we don't know where to put them, right? So
Yeah.
we wouldn't just absentmindedly put them on the shelf. So we brought it back in, and then somebody saw it and decided to make it like a white elephant gift at our Christmas party. And it's just like it's a picture of him on the front, like his whole face. And the album is called Salt. And there are 10 tracks on the back, and every single one has the word salt in it. Like the whole salt and nothing but the salt, like just titles like that the whole time. And we played it, and it's literally exactly what you would think is like there's some beat, and it's just him saying like salt things the whole time. So every time I see that movie with that word, I just think like it's a joke.
I remember I put Salt on once when I was younger and I turned it off. It just was like, you know, those like that brand of like weird spy movie that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's
yeah.
like one part of the ending I remember. Like she like poisons the guy with some kind of like frog toxin or something.
Did you guys ever see Aeon Flux?
Yes,
No.
actually, I've seen pieces of it, and I think it's deranged.
That's another one that comes to me. I don't know if it was a spy movie, but it was another one that I'm like, what the hell was this?
It's not a spy movie, but did you guys ever see Lucy?
I did not
Yes,
know. That was
I've
in a
seen
weird
Lucy.
time of Scarlett Johansson just like putting out movies where it seemed like she was not cast appropriately.
Lucy is one of the dumbest fucking movies I've ever
Only an hour and a
seen.
half.
Well, where it's the entire movie she's just becoming God for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
Isn't that the
apparently
same
we
as
have a
Thunderbolts?
drug. Just so you understand, Kia, the crux of the movie is she gets a drug implanted in her, and it starts out like a limitless thing where she's like getting better skills and learning really quickly, and it ends up with her fucking time traveling throughout space and time and becoming the first true human. Like, you know, the monkey called Lucy?
Oh.
That's what that like,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
There was for a while there was like a string of movies that were all kind of obsessed with doing the whole, you know, how humans use only like 30% of their brain,
Yeah.
but what happens when we
Dude,
use 100%?
nothing triggers me as much as the idea that we could synthesize a drug that lets you time travel and alter reality. Like that's dumb as fuck.
I mean, we watch X-Men. How dumb is that?
Yeah, I mean,
X-Men is more realistic than this shit, Kia.
She
Can
was
you
Emerson, I will,
too much.
it's
I'll
the
never
equivalent of like
forget
I
that.
do coke and now I'm Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna be
We
real,
can
all
add
right?
the
This is
we
gonna
can
sound sort of sexist, but I used to think she was like one of the hottest actresses in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and now I don't think so. I don't know. I think I got like overexposed. She's in a million things.
Yeah.
Like
I
in the
like her.
Prestige era, I was like Scarlett Johansson is one of the hottest women in Hollywood, and then by the time we get to like Marriage Story, I'm like, dude, I don't even care anymore.
Well, yeah, I think the
Let's
yeah. I mean, but that's not like she doesn't
Jojo
have to
Rabbit. I'm
be
not like I
she
would.
doesn't have to be like a sex symbol. I think
let's
she's like an okay actress, but
That's
like
No,
also
she's a
around the
good
time where
actress.
we had seen her in like 8 MCU movies, so it was definitely getting oversaturated.
I think she like even besides that though, look at all of these, and I've like heard of all of these movies. Well, maybe not this one, My Mother's Wedding, um, but Asteroid City. I don't know what that is. Is this a Wes Anderson? Huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Did anybody see that?
no, I've
No.
heard of it though.
I didn't. So I might check out this.
The Phoenician
Phoenician.
scheme. I've heard good things
Is that
about
how you
it.
say it?
Yeah, because it's like
It's not Phoenician.
no, it is Phoenician. You're absolutely correct. The Phoenician scheme.
Might look at it.
Emerson, you know
I
what? You know
hate
what I'll
Wes
never
Anderson
forget.
though.
She's
That's
in
the problem.
Transformers
What?
One.
Yeah,
While
she's the female robot.
we were on the subject of talking about like strange powers that aren't deserved
The
or don't make
tattoos.
sense. Yeah, I'll never forget that rant. I think that's one of my favorite moments. How can a tattoo be a mutant power?
Yeah, well, okay, it's fucking stupid, bro. How the
Dude,
fuck? Oh my God, don't get me
this
started on this
movie
shit
is
again.
stacked, and like nobody saw this. Rough Night.
It kind of reminds me of
Why would you
Bridesmaids.
see it?
I mean, I liked Bridesmaids.
And what do you mean stacked? The only actresses I recognize there are Zoe Kravitz, Scarlett Johansson, and Kate McKinnon.
I mean, that's three like big movie females.
Big
Zoe
movie females.
Kravitz, Zoe Kravitz, and Scarlett Johansson alone, and Kate McKinnon is
I'm gonna
like
be
she
honest,
has
I'm
like
not going to movies because they have like two women that I've heard of.
well,
That
it's
might
not
be
for you,
I
but
sexist.
remember
it's
Ghost
a
in the Shell was
comedy.
pretty big when it came out.
This is
Anyways,
one that it seemed like why is she in it?
Everett,
But
it
I didn't
is
see it.
dumb as fuck. Okay, it is not a mutation.
No, I agree with
Even
you.
Magneto's mutation is like a little questionable. They're all a little questionable.
She was in
Like
the
a real
Justice League.
mutation is like my eye's a different color. That's a real mutation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
What were we talking about? I saw
The
Talking
she.
about
fucking tattoo bitch in X-Men where it's like every time they get a tattoo, they get a new power.
wait,
And
hold
I'm
on, wait,
supposed to
wait, wait.
believe that's a mutation.
Did you guys ever watch Chef with
I have seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
I
Chef.
I
It's good.
liked it. I really liked that movie
it's
actually.
just John Favreau casting a bunch of beautiful women to like be around him the whole time.
Yeah,
But
and
What I
Robert
it's a
Downey
good
remember.
it's a
Jr.
good
is
movie
like
though.
like deferential to him and
I don't
like
remember anything else about it other than I didn't believe that these women had wanted anything to do with him.
The two main things that I took away from it was it's a nice heartfelt story of him traveling around the country making food with his son, and he had Robert Downey Jr. play one part as like a favor to him.
yeah, well no, yeah, the funny thing I always think of when I think about Chef is there's a fucking green text from 4chan where it's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna cast Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and I'm gonna have her like do all these crazy moves on me, who's also
Yeah,
cast in the movie, where she has to wrap her legs around my head." And I
yeah.
was like, all right,
Did you guys ever
That's
see
like
Don
the
John?
Tarantino hiring.
no, I haven't seen Don John.
Do you know
I
what Don
kind of
John
know what it
is?
is. I kind of like I know
I
it
know what Don
exists,
John is.
but I don't know what it is.
Okay, so it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like project, his baby.
Okay,
This is after I think Inception, Dark Knight, right? Like he's like, I'm doing my own thing now.
okay, was it
And
awful?
okay, it's about a guy named Don John who's like a Guido,
Okay.
played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So that's already kind of like okay. And then he's addicted to porn.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And the
Well, like like
movie,
Shameless, not well, not Shameless, or Shame, like
I haven't seen that.
with Fat Spender.
I haven't seen that. But no, he's addicted to porn not in a way that where it's like a quirk and he's trying to find love. He's addicted to porn in a way where the movie's like about him trying to find the best porn possible and all the methods he uses to like get off correctly. And
Okay.
um and then he meets Scarlett Johansson and it's like, well, I still want to be like in love with porn, but then I have this hot chick and I don't remember what else happens, but it was weird. It was very weird, especially for me who hates like sex scenes and like what are we doing? It was bad. And then
Okay.
as far as I know, he never made another movie on his own again.
Emerson, do you know what the flip side to the that green text you just talked about was?
Hmm.
Do you know the one about I think it's From Dusk Till Dawn, where it's Selma Hayek is like they needed someone to like kiss her feet in the movie, and Quentin Tarantino's like, I'm gonna write myself to do it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or
He's a freak.
Robert Rodriguez, like, I'm gonna make you do it. Something like that.
I want to see if he directed any movies since then. How do you do this? Like, if I get rid of this, will it get rid of all this movie? Okay. Director 13. TV. Yeah, dude, after this movie, like it didn't happen again. He started this hit record thing, and I don't know whatever happened with that, but like his movie director career,
The blue dildo.
yeah, I think he's like might be really perverted. I don't know. Uh, anyway, let's look at some news. 10 weirdest Superman stories ever.
All right.
Skyscraper Superman.
The two that I remember are the ones where Lois Lane turns black and he gets fat. Those are the two that I'm envisioning for this list.
So he gets giant in that one. Superman's new power
Does he
is
turn people gay?
what? Yeah, he's shooting rainbows out of his fingers. Ability to shoot a miniature version of himself out of his hands.
That's fucking great.
And
Did
he
either
just
of you ever watch
exists.
Smiling Friends?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
I've
know.
watched Smiling
Do
What
Friends.
is
you
that?
remember that one where it's like, here's your
It's
reward.
a
It's
little
a
version
little
of
version
me.
of me.
Yeah.
So he gets jealous of Mini Superman because people love him. In the end, Mini Superman sacrifices himself to save his creator from a kryptonite meteor, restoring Superman's powers as he dies a true hero.
That's deranged.
What the
Okay.
fuck?
The
Man, what were they
Lady and the
smoking back in
Lion.
the
It's
days?
Superman in a
What the
like
fuck?
it's a lion on Superman's body. That's the only way to describe it. Superman, she asks Superman to marry her, but when he rejects her, because who wouldn't reject a woman you just met in the middle of the ocean who calls herself a witch? She says that the evolution cocktail she gave him will turn him into an animal. The next day, Superman transforms into a lion man, and although Lois promises to stay at his side, his shame at being more animal than person drives him to flee Metropolis forever. First, he joins a circus, but then he runs even further away to Africa because he's like, I got to go home, where he takes over as the leader of a pride and has to reject an actual lioness's attempt to get with him. In the end, Superman realizes that the cocktail he drank was laced with kryptonite and is able to find an antidote in Kandor's library. Okay. The Creel way of dying. All right. Batman and Superman coming together to bond over their shared insecurities that they will never be able to accomplish their goals of improving the world the way that they want. They bare their souls to each other only for the Fortress of Solitude to be attacked by worm like aliens that seek to drain their life force. Eventually, the aliens reveal that they are probes designed by the Krill to find planets of strong emotion because the Krill long ago lost their capacity for it.
What a Krillian, brother.
The probes are designed to drain all emotion on Earth until it's uninhabitable. And we're drawn to the Fortress of Solitude because Batman and Superman's bromance is the most powerful source of emotion in the entire world. Holy shit. Um.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. The invasion of super ants. I don't think I need to read that one, but it looks
Great
like he turns
Caesar's
into an ant
ghost.
at some point. The two faces of Superman. Jor-El launches his baby boy off into space as Krypton explodes, the infant hurtling off into the stars towards Earth, during which, of course, his ship accidentally bumps into a derelict alien ship, which duplicates the young boy, leading to two Kal-Els crashing down on Earth. If you haven't heard the second part, it's because it's only canon to this imaginary story back before they had solid continuity in Elseworlds. They would just do weird shit. The exact clone of Cal who crashed down on Earth at the same time, but instead of being found by Ma and Pa Kent, the clone was found by Wolf and Bonnie Derrick, career criminals. They raised the boy to hate all law and order, and he grew up to be a super menace, desiring to become the greatest criminal in the entire universe.
It's the plot of Megamind.
He was just like Superman, except he was evil, and he wore a domino mask. He was way more ambitious. The cosmic energy duplicate of Superman was too much for even Silver Age comics to handle, and despite the fact that he sacrificed himself to explode both of his evil parents, he was deemed too dangerous to be kept canon. The amazing story of Superman Red and Superman Blue. Oh my God. They solve all the world's problems. They're copies of each other. They enlarge the Kandorians and build new Krypton for them by collecting the kryptonite, blah, blah, blah. So what happened? Everyone gets their happy ending, which is why this being a random issue in the middle of Superman's comic is so insane. Wow. That's funny. The Bridge of Jungle Jimmy.
Bride of Jungle Jimmy.
Oh, Bride. Jimmy Olsen and Clark venture into the jungle to check out a new movie being filmed, only to discover that the crew is showing the locals and a resident gorilla movies in exchange for letting them film there. Of course, they make the mistake of showing Bruno the gorilla King Kong, which convinces her to abduct Jimmy because of how much she loved it, instead of just flying. Oh, so it's like reverse King Kong. Like Jimmy is still legally married to a gorilla. That was never resolved. Okay.
What the fuck?
And when his girlfriend Lucy Lang heard about it, she immediately gave up on him and gave Bruna a veil.
Wait, yeah, you skipped the best part.
Jimmy eventually escapes by showing Bruna a movie of a gorilla throwing him off a cliff.
No, no, no. The sentence before that, two sentences before that.
Instead of just flying Jimmy away, when Superman sees the tantrum Bruna throws without Jimmy, Soups doubles down. He takes on the role of the local witch doctor and marries Jimmy to the gorilla. Superman married them? What the
What
fuck?
the fuck? He's like, you're married now.
Superman and my wife.
Suicide snare. Yeah,
That's
there's
fucking
some
funny.
robot looking guy.
No, that's the escapist. He's not a robot.
The most
He's
disgusting
in Justice League
Superman story ever
Unlimited.
told.
That's the only reason I know who he
I'm
is.
glad I don't know that. All right, Superman and Big Barda are mind controlled by a man named Sleaze, who,
What the fuck
you
is
guessed
this?
it,
These
is
people all have
sleazy.
fetishes and they just put them in their comics.
I'm
What's his
reading ahead.
evil
You ain't seen
plan?
nothing yet.
All right, his plan is he tries to have Superman and Barda make a sex tape. I guess his plan is to discredit them with it, but like I don't have to explain the laundry list of problems with the story, right? They are thankfully rescued before anything can happen, but dear Lord above, is this story insane? Sleaze is so universally recognized as a slimeball that Darkseid, god of evil himself, warned Mr. Miracle about what Sleaze was up to after Darkseid fired him. Okay.
Somebody's like,
Wow.
hey man, I just want to let you know this guy's a real jerk. Like,
Superman at Earth's End. I feel like this image of Superman carrying what can only be like a gigantic Gatling gun.
yeah. Also, it says World War II. I
It's
don't.
time for Superman to finish World War II. I feel like this is something Everett would be really into.
What, just because there's like 8 cannons on that
Yeah.
thing?
Um, okay, Superman
Or
at
do you
Earth's
hold me?
End is a story so insane that I do not fully believe it could have been imagined by mortal men. And I'm only half joking when I say there must have been serious psychedelics involved when drafting it. If you think just the image of an elderly jacked out of his mind Superman with a gun as big as he is tells you everything you need to know, trust me, that only scratches the surface. This Elseworlds tale is a sequel to Kamandi at Earth's End and sees the Earth in the not so distant future being systematically cleansed via nuclear bomb by emotionless cyborgs called the Biomech Sevens. Oh gosh, the ants warned us about this. When they set their target on Gotham City, a heavily depowered Superman makes it his mission to save Batman's old home. Along the way, he finds a group of rebel motorcycle riding Mohawk kids who lead the rebellion against the mutants that rule the city called the DNA Dictators. Venturing deep into the Undercity, Old Man Superman finds the kids' parents as mutated slaves kept alive to breed SS Lion Men, a monster bat undead clone of Batman, and the true masterminds behind everything in Gotham. Not one, but 2 clones of Adolf Hitler, because one clone of Hitler in the post apocalypse leading a monster army of Batman clones just wouldn't make sense. In the end, the depowered Superman uses the gun that is the definition of 90s overcompensating and blasts the Hitler clones to smithereens. Mortally wounded, he carries Bruce's body into a funeral pyre so nobody can ever misuse his friend's corpse again. And somehow, some way, it ends with the kids giving an anti-gun PSA saying that without guns, Superman would still be alive. I cannot express how this story makes me feel. This is a level of insanity that makes the inner workings of the Joker look like a magical treehouse book. Nothing could ever top the pure lunacy this book is, and if anything ever did, I don't think I could handle it.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that
Yikes.
was that was far more entertaining than I thought. 10 best dad in DC Comics. Thomas Wayne, number 10.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Jonathan Kent, number 9. Okay, I thought he would be higher.
They're gonna get some weird people.
Zatara.
I mean, yeah, he
Oh,
sacrifices
Zatanna is the
himself.
girl. Okay,
Yeah, he
Zatara.
sacrifices himself a lot.
Okay.
So sure.
Batman.
Not Bruce Wayne. Okay.
I mean, never mind. He thinks himself as Batman, I guess is his personality.
I didn't even know
Okay.
he had children, but sure.
Damian Wayne, yeah. And he's got like Dick and Tim, whatever.
His surrogate
Green
children,
Arrow is a father.
I
I didn't know that.
guess.
Oh, Green Arrow being a good father is highly debatable. He abandoned his biological son when he was born. His ward, Roy Harper, became a drug addict under his care. His son Connor. Okay, I did not know he had a son named Connor. Deadshot.
Mm,
I don't.
I mean, he has a
debatable.
daughter. Yeah, he does have a daughter. Alfred Pennyworth. Sure.
Yeah.
Surprised he's not number 1. Who's going to be? Roy Harper also has a child.
Yeah.
This is why this whole shit is dumb
He
as
hooks up
fuck.
with Cheshire, I think, right?
Yeah, that's what it said. Wally West. Okay, I don't even know much about him.
Come on.
Okay.
Trigon is number 1. Let's see. Come on.
Trigon. Oh,
No.
Superman. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's got a kid. All right. 8 best dads in Marvel Comics. Do you think Ben Parker's on this list? Vision.
I didn't
Oh
know half
God,
these
that's an
people
odd
had kids,
picture.
bro.
Well, I knew about this comic story where he had. I thought it was a fake family. I don't know. This is like what
It is.
WandaVision was kind of based on.
I'm pretty sure it is a fake family.
Wolverine.
I don't agree
Wolverine
with
is not
that.
a good dad. You fucking kidding me?
He might be better than Vision though. Okay, he does have. Okay. Oh, he has a biological son, Akihiro, also known as Dakin.
Dakin, yeah, he has the. I think
Dakin?
he's the guy that has like the 3 claws that come out of his hand, like one at
How do you
his
know it's
thumb.
pronounced Dakin? Where
I
has
thought
it been spoken?
I think I've heard it pronounced that way.
From who?
Because I used to listen to Marvel podcasts where they would talk about various stories, and I think that's how they said it. So that's just how I say it.
Because it's not spelled like it would be Dakin. What does he look like?
I
I
think he
think
looks dumb as fuck.
he
Like,
has the 3 claws. Unless I'm thinking of someone else. Which no, I'm thinking of the right guy.
Yeah, that looks weird. I don't need Wolverine to have a son. That just seems like too much. Luke Cage, okay, I could buy that. Him and Jessica Jones.
Hmm. I like Luke Cage.
Odin,
Uh,
yeah, the All
that's
Father.
debatable.
Okay. Charles Xavier, does he have children?
This is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like it's so much of this is just like people saying nonsense.
I mean, I guess you want to consider,
Oh yeah, Legion. Forgot about that.
yeah.
We knew about Legion. Scott Lang, sure, we'll give him that. Peter Parker,
Yeah, Mayday Parker, I'm pretty sure is his kid's
yeah,
name.
I don't really like Peter is that old, but Reed Richards, would you guys say?
Uh, I don't know.
All right.
Franklin's just sort of like a god being in the Marvel universe anyway.
Most pre-ordered PS5 game right now is an Xbox game. What is
I
it?
don't even know what it would be.
Okay.
It's beating out Madden NFL 26, College Football 26, Ready or Not, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. It's even beating this month's huge PlayStation 5 exclusive Death Stranding 2. Oh, that came out.
Can someone explain what it is? Oh
Gears of
my
War
God.
Reloaded.
Wow.
I have no interest in playing that game.
Yeah, I haven't really cared about Gears of War since Gears of War 3.
I only ever liked the Horde mode, and I remember the last time I went back to play it like 4 years ago, it was not very good.
PlayStation fans call new PS1 remake announcement the best news of the year.
What?
Didn't
So
they
now
already
they're
do
not
this?
just remaking games, they're remaking consoles.
They're
What a
taking a page
fucking
out of the
Didn't
film
they
studio's
already do
books.
this though?
I don't remember
I
that.
thought they brought back the PS1.
Maybe,
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, they need to make it backwards compatible. I'm not going to play any of these on it. I'm not buying a console.
Mm.
I mean, I did buy the Xbox. That's as far as I'm going. 5 video games with almost infinite choices.
All right.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That was a good game. I finished it. Awesome.
I don't think I ever played Kingdom Come.
I mean, the second one is definitely worth playing. Life is Strange 2. I think I gave up on these. They
I
were
never
like
played it.
many,
Yeah,
many chapters. They were cool, but they're too slow. Like, I don't know. They would put me to sleep. Detroit Become
I
Human
heard
was a
this was
really
really
good
good.
one.
yeah, I
Yeah.
heard it was a good one.
Probably for me.
The Corey, I heard the Corey is really good. It's made
Corey
by the
has
people
you
who did Until Dawn. So
assume the role of
Hmm.
several characters. The thing is, they are stuck at Hackett's Quarry summer camp and they aren't alone. It's a solid horror game. Oh, okay.
I heard this was really good. This and
That's not the
Until
one with the
Dawn.
Wendigo in it, is it?
Until Dawn is the Wendigo.
Oh,
I just heard Corey is really good.
Baldur's
I,
Gate 3. Still got to
I'll
play that.
I'll vouch for
Everyone
Baldur's Gate
praises
3.
it. I
I've
didn't
I've
really like
I've
it
beat
all
it
that
like
much.
7 times.
I didn't like it.
Do you guys they didn't put Heavy Rain on here. Have you guys ever played Heavy Rain?
No.
I know the memes from Heavy Rain.
Why? What memes?
Isn't the Sean meme from Heavy Rain
Uh,
where he's like looking for his kid and there's that glitch in the game where you just keep yelling his kid's name over and over again?
I
Sean,
think I played this at an
Sean.
age where I wasn't really looking at memes. I don't know. Heavy Rain. It's like giving me stock photos. Um, this one is a really cool one because there are basically like 4 characters, and you're all trying to find the missing kid. Like someone is kidnapping children and killing them. So then the father is this guy, and like 3 other people, and they're all trying to find the missing kid. And so based on the decisions that you make, they will all eventually get there. But if you like screw up or do something wrong or make a weird choice, you could potentially not get there or you could die.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if all 4 characters are gone, the kid dies. And that's the end. It's kind of cool. And so
Hmm.
if you make it to the finale and let's say you only have 2 of the characters instead of all 4, that's going to play out a lot differently now.
I see.
And
Interesting.
so yeah, it was a really cool game. That one was all. There was one where like in order to get a clue, the killer makes you he makes the dad like have to cut off his fingers or something. And it's not my finger, but dude, when I was playing it, I was like, Jesus, like it's very intense. And when it came out, the graphics were like super high end. Masters of the Universe reveals He-Man first look as movie wraps filming. Did
I
you
didn't
guys
know they
know
were
about
making a movie of this.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Nicholas Galzatine? Who is he?
Never heard of him.
He's He-Man.
Okay.
What is he? What has he been in? Cinderella.
Weird shit.
A movie called Bottoms.
Well, I mean, I just want to know what his physique will be because
He looks pretty small in the in like the other photos, not in this photo.
He's
yeah,
not as like roided buff as He-Man typically is, but it doesn't look that bad.
I mean, he might be. He's in the shadow. He does look pretty big. I just don't know how big he like. What if he's 6'4" and he looks like that? That's a pretty big guy.
Point taken.
Huh. Our version is quite different from the original animation, which was camp. Huh. I wonder how that'll turn out. Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith's biggest cameo does more harm than good.
All right, I'm interested. Let's see
What do
what
you
this
think?
is.
What are we talking about?
Is it going to be like the
Does
Chewbacca's role
Chewbacca?
weakens his relationship with Han Solo.
I mean, it does, but I also don't feel like this is like the problem. Like, I
Well,
don't think
why? Why does it weaken his relationship with Han Solo?
because it kind of makes it like, oh, he's always been like a freedom fighter. Like he's working like with the Jedi. Like,
Well, he was fighting the Separatists with the Wookiees. That
Well,
makes
okay, because
sense.
Han doesn't believe in the Force, and Chewbacca has literally seen it with his own eyes.
Oh,
So yeah, I see. Like, yeah, that does kind of not make sense. You think Chewbacca and him would be
dude, that's such a
arguing
funny
all the
stance
time?
that Chewbacca is doing,
Yeah,
dude.
is that even Chewbacca? Like, they did a bad job of keeping his face consistent throughout
Yeah.
the different trilogies.
I'm reminded of the last one from the sequel trilogy where he like gets blown up and then they just they cut to another scene and he's
That
still
just
alive.
didn't happen. That just didn't happen. Um, did you? I didn't tell you guys. Cassian has been having lightsaber battles now.
Hmm.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about Star Wars, but he really likes lightsabers, and we've been battling like in our basement.
That's
He,
cool.
I like lured him downstairs in the dark, and he had his lightsaber on, and he was using that to like see, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I was in the dark, and I turned on my like
Right.
Disney Galaxy's Edge one, and
Yeah.
as soon as I turned it on, his face was like, instinctively started fighting me.
That's really cool.
And now he's always like lightsaber, fight. Um, 7 Marvel heroes that
This
could
is
have
gonna be
beaten
dumb as
Hydra.
fuck.
Oh, boy.
Tony Stark could have beaten Hydra.
Except he didn't because like
In
they
fact,
were around.
he contributed to it because
Yeah.
he built the helicarriers that they used.
Yeah,
No.
No,
Winter
yeah.
Soldier kills her.
Shuri.
better Black Widow.
No.
Wouldn't
She
Shuri have been like a
No,
child at that
yeah,
point?
she would have been like 3.
Thor.
I mean, yeah, he technically could have, but once again, he wouldn't have been able to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked
he
about
could
Black Hawk Down. You
he
can't
could
just go in
physically
and
destroy their tech, but
how
you
would he
can't
even find
dismantle
them?
the organization.
How would he find them though? Like, how would he even know who's who? Ghost.
No, no.
No,
If she knew who they were, she could probably infiltrate if they didn't know she was.
Yeah, but Winter Soldier would just kill her. Like,
I guess, yeah, I guess you could just kill her.
are these all
Nebula?
okay? They're talking about purely who could
she
beat the Winter
doesn't.
Soldier.
No,
The, no, she. This is just nonsense. This is why I hate all of these
she
things.
would rewrite Arnim Zola's code.
Fuck you, comicbookmovie.com.
Bruce Banner? I don't think so. That wouldn't make
You
sense.
have to be within Shield
Yeah.
to be able to beat Hydra because you have to like figure out what's happening and have the relationships.
This is
Transformers One
disappointing.
director Josh Cooley says Paramount is not interested in a sequel.
That's okay.
That's a bummer on my end, as I really like the first one.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't bad.
But I think if you just keep making sequels, that's how you end up with crap.
Didn't it
Yeah.
kind of end on a, like something could happen?
Yeah, they ended on a cliffhanger, the evolution of the Autobots and the Decepticons.
Yeah, I this was like I said, I think I remember saying that this was the first time I actually was interested in the lore of Transformers after watching this. So I probably would be open to seeing another one, but whatever.
Yeah, there was a big issue because I think with it was either this movie or another movie that sort of made it that Paramount didn't want any sequel films or they like lost faith in animated stuff or
Yeah.
something.
10 Marvel Cinematic Universe characters that disappeared. Scorpion from Spider-Man Homecoming.
I was kind of
Not
looking
it's
forward to seeing him on
it's
screen.
not a disappearance, but whatever.
They think that he might show up in Spider-Man 4.
That's why it's not a disappearance. This is why all these dude,
This is not
it's
like a
fine.
literal
I'm crashing
disappearance like
out.
Vulture.
I'm crashing out,
Well,
dude.
I mean, there's nothing actually confirmed.
Somebody get this man a
Yeah, but
sin.
what I hate about this is like not every character we see in every movie we need to like what's an update on them. Like
Well,
Didn't
didn't
Justin
Hammer
Hammer
have
die?
something?
Yeah,
No.
remember Hail to the King? He's in jail with the Mandarin, and everybody in the jail I think gets killed when he gets abducted, doesn't he?
I don't know. I
I
thought
don't
that there
know.
was something like what in She-Hulk, wasn't he helping do some things? They don't mention it, so maybe I just made that up.
I could have sworn the last thing we ever heard about was oh no, the last thing we heard about was in um it was Luke Cage and they had
Do
the
you see what I
Judas
mean?
bullet. Remember
Who
that?
who is this person? No one cares.
Madam
No
B
one
from
even
Avengers Age.
cares.
Well, it's kind of interesting that she didn't show up in the Black Widow movie as the person who trained them, but I think they just pretended like she never existed.
I feel like this next one sort of hinges on the Blade movie
Black Knight in
succeeding.
Eternals. That one, I really feel like his inclusion in that movie was really, really unnecessary. And then just like that tag at the end, and for it to go absolutely nowhere. How many years ago was Eternals now?
It was a while. It was like
Mm,
2017, right?
No, because Endgame was
2021.
Oh, I
2021,
don't know
four
what the fuck's
years.
going on. 4 years.
Guess it
So
hasn't been that long. I liked Eternals. Roman Day. Well, they haven't
I
even
thought he's
revisited
dead.
that. Is he dead?
Well, yeah, didn't Thanos kill everybody on Xandar?
I don't know that he killed everybody.
I would assume, since from like the side stuff they said, he invaded Xandar, he wiped out the Nova Corps, and he took the stone. I would assume this guy's dead.
But he would have killed half the people.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't know.
guess.
But we haven't even seen that like side of the universe. So Wakabi, yeah, his is a little interesting that he's not around.
Well, he betrayed everybody.
He it seems like he would have had some type of role to play in the sequel, except they instead turned it into a cry fest.
Mm.
Carl Mordo from Doctor Strange,
in
yeah,
It
he's
wasn't
still
there a
out there.
deleted scene where he died or something?
in an alternate version dies in Scarlet Witch 2, Electric Boogaloo, Doctor Strange.
No, I think that they made some reference in Multiverse of Madness. Yeah,
Yeah.
that he dies. He's dead in the original. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Oh God, this next one.
Star Fox. This is the funniest one. The fact that this just went absolutely nowhere. I mean, just to call him Thanos' brother and then to do nothing with it is really funny. Yeah, there would be no dynamic with Thanos at this point. Like, why even make that a character then?
Hmm.
People didn't like the Eternals, and to this day, there's next to no clamoring for a sequel. Did
Didn't he
I
have like
kind of
a gnome or a goblin with him as well?
Yeah, he did.
yeah, I think it was Patton Oswalt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch Eternals, but not that post credit scene. Aaron Davis, I don't need to
He
see the
showed
Prowler.
he showed back up in Across the Spider-Verse
Yeah. Do you think that
briefly.
would you guys want to see the Prowler in an MCU movie?
I would want to see
Not
the Prowler
really.
in a Miles Morales movie, maybe. It wouldn't make sense for Peter Parker.
I don't really buy this guy as a superhero or like
No.
superpowered being. Hercules from Thor: Love and Thunder. My favorite thing
Yeah.
was when he like talked about how he told his mom that he was in the movie and she waited the whole time and like walked out and didn't was like where were you and he's like I was at the end credits and she didn't see it. What a dumb dude. Oh my god, it's like making me mad all over again. Um Feels like we're headed for an Aliens versus Predator crossover event that fans always deserved.
I
You guys
really
watching this
like
Predator
Alien versus
thing?
Predator.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Um,
Seemingly setting up a Aliens vs Predator movie.
I saw somebody complaining
Badlands
about
is
the
out
animated movie.
already?
The no, Killer of Killers is out right now
So then how do they know Badlands is setting up an Alien versus Predator movie?
because of that. They assume that woman is an android from Weyland Yutani,
Yeah.
which is from Alien.
Yeah. Okay, I guess, but
Okay.
Not
Well,
to
if any
mention
of
they've
it's
sort of
actually
entwined it.
good, I might be interested in watching it.
I saw somebody complaining about the animated version because apparently someone throws like a 700-pound anchor with one hand.
Nice.
But I don't know, small things.
Jurassic World to stream free the day Rebirth arrives in theaters.
okay.
I don't I've
I
lost
kind of
track of how
stopped
many of these
caring
they
about
even
these.
made. Yeah.
They've made like four.
Yeah, they made another one with Chris Pratt that I
Is
sort of
Chris
lost
Pratt
track of and never
still? Oh,
saw.
it's Gareth
No.
Edwards.
No,
No,
now
it's
it's Scarlett Johansson in the
it's
next
Scarlett
one.
Johansson.
What? What is?
In this next one,
She's the main guy now.
So all the people are different now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gareth Edwards is making this.
I like Gareth Edwards generally, but I don't want to see this. So
Are they just living in a world where dinosaurs just
They're
freely
all
roam the earth
currently
now?
streaming on Peacock. The hell is this?
Probably a list of
Okay.
things you can watch.
Will Smith almost starred in one of Christopher Nolan's biggest movies.
was it
Inception?
Tenet?
Are you guys seeing it?
No.
Tom Hiddleston, for example, auditioned for Thor.
It is Inception.
Inception as
Yeah,
Leo.
it says he turned down Inception, the last line on the second paragraph.
He didn't get it. Brad Pitt was given the initial offer. Pitt declined. Nolan turned to Will Smith and eventually came to Leonardo DiCaprio. Wow.
Yeah, because that would have been an interesting movie.
I don't think Will Smith would have been good, and I don't think Brad Pitt would have been as good either.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Inception was as good as it was with Leo.
Hey, you guys have read about how Brad Pitt like was abusing his family?
Yeah.
What?
You never
Um,
heard about this?
I know he had like a bad marriage, but no.
No, there was like an incident on a plane where he was like throwing kids around and
Yeah.
purposely slammed himself so that to hurt Angelina Jolie, and like one of the kids tried to fight him, and there's some bad and he's like fuck you all.
What the fuck, really?
and
Holy
and then
shit.
that's when after his daughter Shiloh, I think, changed her name to Jolie instead of Pitt, and the other kids don't talk to him either. Oh, he also like would say comments basically like saying that those adopted kids are not his kids, and he only has like two kids or three kids, whatever it is. And because of that, like when he wanted visitation, he only wanted to see his actual kids, and that's why they all like banded together and refused to see him. He's
I'll never be able to
kind
watch
of a
Mr. and Mrs.
dick.
Smith
If you
again.
go read, like, I didn't do it justice. If you go actually read what he did, because it's like it's in articles. He's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Emerson wants to support him in F1 though.
No, I want to see F4.
King of the Hill revival teases how little Bobby. Oh, I actually don't need this one. King of the Hill revival celebrates Father's Day with first footage reveal.
I saw this.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Hey,
Although it
you
is
know the
sad how he
actor,
looks older.
one of the voice actors just was shot and killed.
Yeah, John
Yeah,
Redcorn's
John
actor.
Redcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you
The
can get
animation
someone.
looks a little
I could do it. Hank.
okay. The animation looks a little weird.
Oh, hey, Hank. I could do it.
I will not service the other wives as I will yours.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little sad to see them older. I feel like they should have made Hank a little grayer.
I just rewatched that episode where it was I was watching a few, but I watched that one where Bobby demolishes a steak in front of his vegan
Yeah.
girlfriend.
I feel like Bobby's voice was a little too high in this.
No, no.
I'm excited. I hope it's not bad. I'm excited. I love King of the Hill. Dude, okay, so we were at the sand dunes
Mhm.
and we wanted to take a family picture, but no one was around, and this group of people were coming down, and there's like a leader among them. So Jade asked them for a picture, and as I'm posing for the picture, I realize they're all special needs.
Oh,
And he's wearing a King of the Hill shirt, And I tried to say something. I was like, "Are you excited for the revival?" He was like, "Huh?" Like, he doesn't know what's going on. And the picture he took, like he didn't even say like one, two, three. He just like took a picture, and then he just kept talking about just pure nonsense while the rest of them stared at the ground. And one of them, and again, I feel terrible, but like her face was literally hanging off. Like half of her face was literally hanging off, like
Like
6 inches
like
below
a
where it
stroke
should have been.
victim.
No, like 6 inches lower than where it should have been. Like not like, oh, half her face is parallel. I'm talking like, what is happening here? It was just
Yikes.
um My Adventures with Superman to launch marathon in time for James Gunn's Superman. What is My Adventures with Superman,
It's an
Andreas?
animated movie. It was supposed to launch on
What's that? I thought
Cartoon
it was a
Network.
show.
It is a show. It was supposed to launch on Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network like died, so it was on Adult Swim for some reason. I watched a little bit of it. It was okay. I
Oh,
It
mean,
it
it's
has
for
okay.
my
kids
favorite
though.
version of Supergirl in it.
It's for kids, so I'd like, I
You have
know.
a favorite version of Supergirl?
Yeah, because the original version that I know and most people know is like the comics version or the Justice League Unlimited or Superman version where she follows Clark Kent to Earth like a couple decades later. She was like in cryo sleep or something, so she wakes up and he's already an adult.
Isn't that
But
how it normally works?
yeah, but this version's like sort of think of Thor in the first Thor movie where she comes and she's like militaristic and she's kind of unfamiliar with all the Earth customs and it's a different take, but I kind of enjoy it.
Well, they're gonna make a third season. By the way, anyone watch Last of Us?
No,
Oh no, I haven't watched
I
season
haven't
two yet.
watched a single episode since the last one I watched. I think I watched the first
I've
three
heard a lot of
episodes.
people complaining about it.
I'm
I
gonna watch it. I just fell off of it because I just was got busy and I'll just wait for it all to come out. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm curious. They're making My Adventures with Green Lantern.
The fuck?
no okay.
My Adventures with Hitler.
The Arrowverse broke a character so bad that James Gunn had to reinvent them.
Oh, Vigilante. Okay.
Who was it? Vincent Sobel, aka Vigilante. Okay, I don't even know who this is.
So Vigilante is sort of I mean he is what he is. Like a violent superhero.
And he's
And
like the Punisher.
yeah, the version that they made in Peacemaker was sort of like a goofy idiot, but still skilled.
Okay, well that's tracks for James Gunn. um,
Yeah, I'm shocked.
all right, so let's talk movies and dates here. Okay, so we have next week, and we could do 127 hours
I would
as
like to do 127
originally
hours.
scheduled. Then the week after that, Everett Emerson wants to see F1 the movie.
Sure.
It was
I can
Kia
see
who
that.
wants to see it.
I asked if you wanted to see it.
And I was like, sure.
You're like, yeah.
I can go see that.
He said, yeah. Not sure.
Did anyone
Okay.
have any interest in going and seeing the Karate Kid movie?
No.
I do. Is it out? It's not
Yeah,
out.
it's out.
It's out right now.
Hmm.
I don't know that we need to review it, but I do kind of want to see it. Jade wants to see How to Train Your Dragon too, but
I also want to see that, but we've already reviewed the How to Train Your Dragons, and it's already a one
No,
for
I
one
don't want to
remake.
support any of these
and I also
godforsaken
didn't like
remakes.
the originals either, so I don't know that it would be worth it.
Yeah, my
Okay,
heart's
then we're
still
going
broken
out of
over Lilo
town
and
for 2
Stitch.
weeks. When we come back, okay, yeah, we're going out of town when Superman releases Everett, so we're not going to be able to review that until the following week.
That's fine. I looked
Why is there a
online trying
thumbs
to
up
buy.
on your screen?
I have no idea.
What the hell
I
was
don't
that?
see a thumbs up.
There was a thumbs up that just popped up on his screen.
I didn't. Was it like an emote or
Did he
something?
do a
Or
react? Was
Somebody
it
did.
this?
oh yeah,
No,
that.
it wasn't that. It was like a bubble. You did it,
Was
Everett.
it
No,
this?
I didn't.
No,
What the
it was a
fuck?
bubble.
This is awesome.
I did not do it. Maybe it like did some. I don't know. Okay, I'm getting off topic.
What the
I
hell
looked
is
up
this?
online the advanced ticket sales for Superman, and they're like impossible to get where I live. So a week later would probably be better anyway.
Advanced tickets?
Yeah, like
Why do you
AMC
need
out here is
why do
there's
you
a
need
lot of
advanced tickets?
Well, I mean, assuming we would review it like the week of, like they're
Shouldn't that
packed
just be
for.
on time tickets?
My point is that there will be available tickets the week after, which works.
Oh,
People
okay.
buying their tickets in advance for when the movie comes out.
Okay, so we're seeing 127 hours this week, and the week after it's F1, and then I'm out of town, and we're coming back on the 18th with Superman, and then the week after that is Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. Interesting release schedule.
So Karate Kid is out.
Yeah.
Let me see if it's near me. I do want to see it. I guess I could go while Cassian's at daycare. Jade probably won't come with me. Karate Kid Legends. Yeah, there's not many. Do you guys want to review Karate Kid this week instead of 127 hours?
There it is again. The thumbs up. You.
Well, I'm
No,
experimenting now
that
that I'm
wasn't
seeing you
it.
doing
That
it.
wasn't it. I'm telling you, that wasn't it. Do you guys want to see
Yeah,
Karate
I'd
Kid
like to
Legends
do
as a
127 hours. I think that would be
okay? We'll
like I
do
think that would be
127 hours,
good.
but I might still see it over it.
Yeah.
We could at least talk about it. The Phoenician scheme, I'm gonna see that later. What about Mission Impossible?
I will see it at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna run into the theaters to see it.
Yeah, I might watch it when it's on streaming.
And I don't really think that and I heard it's not great either. So
I heard
yeah,
that too.
I'll probably watch it at home. Um, but yeah, that takes us all the way through. That'll take us into August,
All right.
in which we can catch up on some things. 127 hours. Yeah, we have a decent list of movies to get through. Could take Black Hawk Down off the list now. I went to the Titanic live experience that's here in Denver right now.
Yeah.
That was fun. It was cool.
I think I prefer the one that's at the Luxor in Vegas.
What is that?
Emerson, you've been there. We went there once.
Yeah. It's just like you go through the ship, you get like
You get
a
like a little
passenger.
pass. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
you
what we did. It might be the same thing.
I think it is the
Yeah.
same exact thing.
Did they also have like the iceberg that you could put your hands on?
Um, maybe there was like a virtual reality thing with the iceberg, like
Mm.
them like sailing into it. That yeah, it was like sort of a immersive thing that happened. All right, guys, we will see you next week with 127 hours.
See ya.
See ya.